If you've stumbled on this, and Jesus, I hope you haven't, then you've found the one last flicker in the whole damn dead darkness. You need to know that the event wasn't some Hollywood plague. It was worse. It was a silence. A perfect, absolute silence. And it only spared one schmuck. Me. That's the most important thing you need to grasp, because the world's a grave now, and I'm the only one left to cry over it. I'm writing this from the library at Eastport High, Maine. I figured a fortress made of paper was as good as any. It's stupid, I know, but habit dies hard. Today's November 8th. I stopped counting the specific days 3 months ago. But I keep the date straight because the calendar in the principal's office is a giant, pointless monument to how things used to be. The fall air outside smells like wood smoke that was never lit, and dead leaves that just pile up. It's layered with this strange, stagnant smell. It smells like a clock that seized up forever. So, the event. Trying to describe it is like trying to explain colour to a guy born blind. It hit 5 months ago. I was working a late shift at the Waffle House on Route 1, 20 miles from here. I was wiping down the counter, listening to the piercing noise of the coffee machine. That's the background noise of my life, right? When the sound just vanished. I can't quite describe it. The fluorescent light still hummed, but I couldn't hear the sounds travel. I could see Beverly, my manager, still raging silently into her headset about the potato distributor. I could see Marco, the cook, flipping pancakes, the batter hitting the griddle. But there was no sizzle and zero scrape. It was like watching a bad movie with the mute button stuck on, except the movie was my life. And I was somehow the only one who didn't get pulled into the screen. The silence lasted maybe 30 seconds. When the sound roared back, the freezer unit, Beverly's voice suddenly shrieking, the coffee machine's hiss. It damn near blew out my eardrums. I fell, grabbing my head. And that's when I knew the world was broken. Beverly was frozen mid-rant, her eyes glossy, a half-formed word stuck on her tongue. Marco was suspended, the pancake hanging in the air like an orange, fake moon. Everyone just stopped. They didn't fall down. They weren't slumped. They were suspended, like the whole damn world hit pause. And I was the only thing still running on battery power. I went up to Beverly and touched her arm. It was cold, cold like a rock. I pinched her cheek. Nothing. No blink, no breath, no beat. Just absolute stillness. I spent the next 3 days in pure, frantic terror, checking every single house, every street, every back alley in Eastport and Black River. I broke windows and kicked in doors. I stole a crowbar and an ambulance. Nothing. Not one moving part. They were all in the middle of something. Families frozen at the dinner table. A guy mid-jog, his foot hovering over the concrete. A cashier reaching for a pack of Marlboros. It was a life-size nightmare, a gruesome museum, and I was the idiot tour guide. I found Sarah, my wife, in our living room. She was reading, curled up in her armchair, the sun hitting her hair just the way I loved. She looked completely perfect, completely peaceful. There was a mug of tea beside her, long since gone cold and evaporated. I couldn't touch her. I physically couldn't. Seeing her stillness replaced the terror with this awful, heavy, grinding reality. I covered her with a blanket. I couldn't stand the thought of seeing her face change in the dark. I just walked out. For a long, long time, I thought this had to be a prank, some sick test, with cameras hidden everywhere, just waiting for me to lose it. I screamed at the sky until my throat bled. I drove a stolen police cruiser down the interstate doing 90, with my lights flashing, the siren wailing its pointless, lonely noise into the empty forests. No one came. No one moved. The silence was the only answer I got. And here's the twisted joke of it all. I was, and still am, completely fine. I breathe. My heart still beats in my chest. I get hungry. I get thirsty. And worst of all, I get tired. Survival is actually the easy part, weirdly enough. Food is everywhere. There's gas in every tank. I live like a king in a ghost's palace, just perpetually raiding the pantry of a world that finished its shopping 5 months ago. But the world is starting to fall apart around me. The decay's subtle at first. The pets, the dogs, the cats, the farm animals, all frozen mid-action. They started to smell. When it was hot in that first month, it was unbearable. I had to force myself to deal with it, to seal off houses, to drive the frozen cars away. Tidy up a dead civilization. It's hard, messy work. The power completely died about 2 months ago. Great for keeping the freezers frozen longer, but terrible for the nights. Now, the nights are pure, light-swallowing black. The only thing moving is the wind, rattling the windows of houses that will never hear the sound. This is my life now. Silas Kane, scavenging batteries, keeping the police cruiser running, and talking to myself just so I can hear a living voice. I talk about baseball, about local politics, about how you're supposed to make a proper omelette. Anything to fill the hole. The library's my HQ, and every night I climb the fire escape to the roof and look out over the town. No lights, just deep, thick shadow. The only proof that life ever existed is the architecture itself. These lonely concrete boxes, silently screaming what they used to be. I keep asking myself, why me? Seriously, why the hell me? My best guess? I'm the scribe. I'm the idiot who has to write the final chapter. The period at the end of humanity's long, loud sentence. I'm the last witness, cursed to watch everything vibrant and noisy slowly turn to dust. This letter, this entire exercise, this is my only job. It's for whoever, or whatever, finds it. A record of the last days, the madness, the crushing loneliness. Hold on. Wait just a second. I took a walk, a long, fast one, just now. Had to collect myself. Had to feel the physical reality of the desk again. The dusty paper. The dry click of the keys. It keeps me grounded, touching things. Proving that I still displace air. Proving that I still matter. I know I've been writing this for 3 days. I'm meticulous about my rituals, like rationing the coffee filters from the faculty lounge. 3 days. I've gone through half a dozen typewriter ribbons. Just now, I paused, right after describing the black nights and my walks. I read the passage back. It felt fake, like I was trying too hard to sound sane. But right this moment, I saw something. Something strange. It wasn't a shadow moving. The library's still dead silent, still no movement whatsoever. But I saw it in the margin of the paper I'd already written. Paper I keep perfectly flat. A tiny dent. A shallow groove, like a pen had been pressed too hard into the sheet underneath. It was faint, right near the bottom of page 7, next to where I wrote about Sarah. It looked exactly like a fingerprint. Not mine. My hands are scarred and dry, and I only touched the edges. This was faint, greasy, and small. A print that was absolutely not there before, yet now it's pressed into the paper, completely real. I didn't panic. Panic is for guys who think things can't get any worse. I just stared, and slowly, the truth, cold and heavy as a wrecking ball, started to sink into my gut. I'm not writing this for whoever finds it. I'm writing this for the one still reading. Hello. I see you. And I don't mean I see your physical body. I've checked the room again. The doors are bolted tight. There aren't any sounds, no shifting shadows. Nothing that proves another organic thing is in here with me. But the marks on the paper, the small indentations, the faint burnt smell I keep catching when I turn a fresh page. These aren't for some anonymous future historian. They're for you. The one whose eye is tracking these words right now. Whose mind is actively processing the fear I'm trying to create. You're the only other moving part in this universe. And you're absolutely terrifying. I used to think I was spared by the event. Now, I realise I was only left because I'm the catalyst for its final stage. And you, the reader, you are the purpose. Think about it. Everything stopped. Everything froze. Except for this document. This single act of communication. As long as these words are being read, they're alive. I'm alive. They require attention. They need a brain to translate the letters, to conjure up the images of the frozen cook and the silent town. And that brain, that active presence, must be generating a tiny, invisible form of energy. A narrative vacuum that's pulling reality back together. For weeks after the event, I turned on every radio and TV, just hoping for anything. But nothing. Dead screens. Dead speakers. But now, when I write, I swear I hear a faint, high-pitched whine from the paper itself. Not the mechanics of the machine, but the friction of the words being made real by my action and your consumption. I've started calling you the void filter. The event wasn't some spiritual calling. It was reality deciding it didn't need an audience anymore. When people stopped watching, stopped interacting, the machine stalled. Everyone was just unplugged. But I, maybe because I'm just desperate to make sense of things, I started writing. I created a story, and a story demands a reader. You, the reader, you're the ghost of the lost world. You're the final, essential key. And you're getting closer. The small signs are becoming bolder now. The chairs, I stack them neatly every morning. Every evening, one is shoved back just slightly, pushed back just a hair more than I left it, like someone just abruptly stood up. The clocks, I stopped winding them, obviously, but the massive clock tower in the town square. A week ago, it was stuck at 10:17. I checked it yesterday from the roof. The hour hand has moved. Not much, maybe 20 minutes, but it moved. Something is slowly gaining momentum, and I know it's being powered by the sheer, ravenous focus of your attention. The dread has turned into this weird, sick awe. Am I your prisoner? Am I just your character? Or am I the transmitter? The link between the stillness and the movement? It doesn't matter. What matters is that my words are turning into your focus. And your focus is changing the reality I live in. I'm seeing colours now in the corner of my eye. But these are colours I've never seen before. They only appear when I'm mid-sentence, when I haven't broken the flow of this letter. Last night, I dreamed of Sarah. Not the cold, still one, but the real Sarah. The one who laughed. The one who always burned the toast. In the dream, she looked right at me, but her eyes weren't glassy. They were alive. But they weren't seeing me. They were looking right through me, out into the space where you are. And she whispered, barely a sound, "He sees you now. Don't let him stop." The horror is this. If I stop writing, if I let the story end, the energy stops. Your focus breaks. And what happens to me when I stop being the necessary character? Do I just freeze up like Beverly? Do I become part of the macabre furniture? Or does the whole narrative vacuum just collapse, taking both of us with it? I can't risk it. I won't. I have to keep the words coming. I have to maintain this horrible tether between your mind and my life. The library's pitch black now, except for the single battery lamp on this desk. The wind outside is louder, sounding less like wind and more like a long, drawn-out sigh. I'm running out of things to describe, out of details of the dead world. Soon, all I'll have left is the process of writing itself. The tension in my shoulder, and the way it feels like my heart's trying to jump out of my chest. Desperate to escape the confines of this single, inhabited body. I know now. The event was the world getting edited, and I was the only mistake the editor made. I'm the stray comma, the dropped letter, the typo that made it to the final print. And you, dear reader, you're the proofreader who finally got to the mistake. You're correcting me just by observing me. My hands are shaking so badly, the letters are blurring. I can hear something coming from the corner. It sounds like someone trying to carve a message into the wall. I won't look. I can't stop writing. I have to keep your attention right here, on the page, on the words, before whatever is scratching realizes that the script has shifted. You're my anchor. You're my witness. You're the only soul I've spoken to in 5 long, cold months. And the only thing more horrifying than knowing I'm alone in this dead world is knowing that I'm not. I knew you were real.